The nature of insanity is that humanity has a vanity. Allow me to seed that. Can it be? It's a fallacy to shelter a doubt, see. Truly blessed be. Be one to make a new reality. And now join me for an all new to be or not to be. Like the Beatles said, just let it be. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to an all new era and an all new episode of Friend or Foe. I'm your host, Devlin Wilder. And guys, in this very awesome episode, I welcome the talented and delightful Sujata Day, who you might know as playing Sarah from Insecure on HBO. Now, just having finished its second season and coming back for a third, woohoo! You might have also seen her in The Guild as her very surly dwarf alter ego Ichabod Ferndweller in the YouTube streaming D&D series Girls Guts Glory, or as the shy girl in Season 7, Episode 16 of my very favorite show of all time, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I also very energetically welcome my super awesome friend Libby Ward, who joins me as a guest host on this episode, and you will probably be hearing a lot more from her in upcoming episodes as well. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in and listening. One thing that I really need, my entire team really needs in this show, I would just love for you to do is when you go to Apple Podcasts or Stitcher or Spreaker or now Spotify, please leave us a rating and review. It's super easy. If you're on Apple Podcasts, you just pull up the app and you just scroll right to the review section. It takes no time at all, and even if it's just a sentence or two, it really, really helps out the show to, it helps people find the show and helps us to climb the ladder of ratings on Apple Podcasts and elsewhere. It also helps Google to pick us up on its analytics, so it really helps any show out across the board, so we really appreciate it. Guys, I won't bore you too much more. Let's get to it. Here's an all-new episode of Friend or Foe with Sujata Day.
This is the Jabberjaw Podcast Network.
This is Patrick Bramall, and you're listening to Friend or Foe? ?
All right. Wow. We're back after the big holiday break. Here we are. This is
2018.
2018. Here we go, baby. That's pretty exciting, right? How you guys doing today?
I'm great.
Yeah.
I'm excited about 2018, to be honest.
What are you most excited about?
I think this is going to be a big year, especially in Hollywood in general.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
What are you looking forward to seeing this year?
I think a lot of change is in the works right now, and people are way more open to stories about women and people of color and marginalized voices, and I'm just excited to watch those stories on screen.
Yeah, I'm into it. I'm ready for more of this.
Absolutely. I'm rocking my black today. In
time's
solidarity.
Up. Time's up.
That's right. I'm rocking, as I was telling Libby. Oh, you know what? I should make the official announcements. That would probably make us. So I would very proudly like to welcome my guest co-host for today. This is Libby Ward, who I've talked about a lot on the show because she's awesome and wonderful. She is my games producer. We also co-host the Sneaky Fridays #game every Friday night, which you can follow us on Twitter. And she's a powerful voice.
Happy to be here in real life.
So here she is in the Nerdist Studio. And we also have with us the very amazing Sujata Day. Did I pronounce that correctly?
That was perfect.
Wonderful. Okay. And Sujata, I gotta, I'm the biggest nerd in the world. So, I actually found you through Girls Guts Glory.
Yes, I love that. Amazing. I just noticed they were playing a D&D game downstairs right now.
Yeah. They do that a lot.
Cool.
And that's why I love recording here, because it's literally Nerd Central.
Yes.
It's pretty awesome. So how did you get into that show? Are you a gamer, or have you played D&D before?
I'm actually not a gamer. I had never played before Girls Guts Glory. My friend Kim Hidalgo, who was the dungeon master for the first 2 seasons, she actually, her sister played in San Francisco. Her sister Erica, who's our Pixie Ranger, and Kim just got a group of us girlfriends together and was like, "Hey, would you guys want to play an all-girl game of Dungeons and Dragons? Erica really wants to start a group down here and she doesn't have anybody to play with." And we're all actors, and I'm specifically in comedy. And I was just like down to do a character that I would never get to play on an actual TV show or in the movies. So it was actually really fun learning how to play and realizing how much it is an acting exercise. And all of us are good friends. So when we interact with each other, it's all improvised and we're all very comfortable with each other.
Sure, it's an actual D&D game that you're playing. You're playing through the campaign. Sorry to knock over your drink there, Libby. That's so cool. I'm a longtime D&D player. I haven't played in a very long time. It was actually very cool watching you guys play, and I also watch Critical Role, of course. Yes. So that's Libby. Are you familiar with that?
I'm a little bit familiar. I'm not as big of a gamer. I play a ton of tabletop games, but I really love games that take exactly an hour because
why is that?
Well, because then you have a lot of variety. I have people over to my house all the time to play games, and people drop in and they leave early. You're always invited. I invite you to everything. You gotta watch your Facebook events, dude. So people drop in and they leave early, and so the players are always changing. So I love playing a variety of games so that we can play like a 2-person game, and then like an 8-person game, and then a card game, or just change it up a lot because the players change up all the time. None of us have 5 hours to sit through like a really long, involved thing. But
that makes sense.
I want to hear about your D&D character. Who's your character?
Absolutely.
Oh, my D&D character, his name is Ichabod Ferndweller. It's a guy. Mm-hmm. It's the only guy on the team. And he... physically speaking, I use my hair and I French braid it into a beard and I draw in a mustache.
Are there pictures
I have very dramatic
that we can share?
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. There's many pictures. There's videos.
Yeah, you've done multiple episodes.
Yeah, I was in the first 2 seasons every episode, and then in season 3 we started to do the live streaming on Twitch, and I couldn't make every single week.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of throughout season 3.
And Ichabod is a surly dwarf.
Ichabod is a surly dwarf. Something that's really popular is #Ichabeard because of my beard.
Nice.
I do an accent, so I'm Ichabod Ferndweller. I'm a lover and also a fighter. And we all kind of say that our games have bad accents and somewhat following the rules because a lot of us are new players. And I feel like I really enjoy just taking on the character, and I'm always hitting on all the other characters. And
amazing. I love it.
I do too.
And your accent was excellent, but I do want to say that committed but questionable accents are my favorites.
Yeah.
Like most improvisers I know, and myself included, although I'm absolutely the worst, is most improvisers have like an Irish Jamaican accent. Like they kind of are the same for a lot of people. But when people commit to it hard, it's still pretty much the best.
What you trying to say, man?
The best thing ever.
That sounded Jamaican. For sure.
That's what I was going for.
Yeah,
hooray.
Okay. Quality,
Score.
Quality.
Good. Really nice.
I feel like I've got to put all my stuff on the floor because Devlin loves to talk with his hands.
I do.
And he's just like
she knows me very well.
Like a cat. He's just shoving everything off of the table.
Yeah, exactly.
Fantastic.
Get that off of my table. I watched your clip of, I went back and watched your Buffy clip right before I came.
That was my first job.
It was your very first job?
That was my very first job.
Please, just tell
Buffy.
us all about it. We really do.
It was really wonderful. for being a first job and being on like the hottest show that was on at the time and having my scene directly with Sarah Michelle Gellar, who was pretty much an icon. And I got on set, I was really nervous, and she, like, while we were doing the scene, I think she may have noticed my nervousness, and she was just the sweetest.
But that worked for the character.
Yeah, that's true.
In your case, it worked for the character.
Yeah,
so
yeah. And she was just like talking to me like, oh, where are you from? And I like your boots, and just trying to, get on my level and calm me down. And it was just really an amazing experience. And wow, it's so fun. I love when people like come up on my Twitter like, oh my God, I just saw you in Buffy randomly. And I was like, yeah, this is my first job. Shy girl.
Right.
Is that how you're credited?
Yes.
Oh, fun.
It's awesome.
I know we've both seen every episode multiple times.
Yes.
So it's like right after the seal of Dan the Czar is
I like
opened.
to say it's Tom Lank's episode.
It's Tom Lank's episode, Storyteller, where he's sitting, it's a Masterpiece Theater style, and he's like narrating her going through her day.
Well, what a great excuse for me to go back and watch every episode for like a sixth time.
Yeah.
Plus, it's so nice anyway when you meet somebody in real life to go back and like watch their body of work.
Yeah.
Also, like now knowing more about them personally, but also to see your favorite actors in early roles that you might like, sometimes you see people in like 80s movies or 90s movies. Not you. You're not old enough for that. But
I love going back to like Seinfeld and Friends and the old Will and Grace, and seeing like the one-liner people.
Oh,
and you're
yeah.
like,
Totally.
oh my God, they're like super famous now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was just listening to, I find my way into new podcasts all the time. Doing this podcast has opened me up to the whole podcast universe. So I was listening to Alec Baldwin's show, and he had Megan Mullally and Nick Offerman on, and they were talking all about getting involved with Will and Grace, and then Parks and Rec. Mm-hmm. What an amazing story! Like two of the most fantastic shows.
They're Nick Offerman and Megan Mullally are just amazing.
They are.
To me.
Yeah. They're super cool humans.
I hope to work with them someday.
So
I'm putting it out there right now.
Yeah, put it out there. It's 2018.
It's 2018,
Everything's
baby.
happening.
So that brings me to my next question. If you could, like, no holds barred, just whatever you wanted to do across all realms of the pop culture sphere, who would you want to work with? What would you work on? So forth.
Wow, that's a lot, but I have thought about that. I would love to work with Ava DuVernay. She's like my number one favorite director, and I'm really excited for A Wrinkle in Time. I think it's going to be really fun. I actually just reread the book, and I was like, oh God, this is going to be so good. And I would just love to kind of follow in the footsteps of my friend Issa Rae and create, write, star, produce, be in my own show, comedy.
Which brings us around to Insecure.
Yes.
You play Sarah.
I do.
Nice transition.
Perfect.
I just started watching it. I will admit to you, I was going to go through and watch all of your episodes and marathon them, but did not achieve that. I watched the first episode. Wow. Libby, have you seen it yet?
I've seen a few episodes.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's really great. There's a cool. I don't know if you know that I was on a web series called Awkward Black Girl with Issa, and she created it, and I played her best friend on the web series for 2 seasons. So then she got the HBO deal at the end of our season 2. And then 3 years later, the pilot was made, and she has been so lovely in bringing on so many of the Awkward Black Girl cast onto the show. So it's been really kind of like a utopia. Like, I know we're talking about the Me Too movement and stuff right now. And getting on set for the pilot, you just look around and it's just women of color in all positions of this HBO set, from the cinematographer to the director to the PAs. And And I, like, when I work on Brooklyn Nine-Nine or Life in Pieces, I get on there and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's white boys everywhere. What is that? like that's surprising to me from working on a set where that's not the norm, which is, I think,
you came from the other direction. That's pretty incredible.
It's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's so nice to have anywhere to have actual diversity. Like, you see diversity walking around on the street or in your coffee shop or whatever, and then you go on a set or you watch TV and you're like, this does not look like the world.
My life.
This does not look like my life. And actually, with your permission, Devlin, I want to real quick talk about amplifeminism.
Absolutely.
So
Please.
you just mentioned Me Too, and we're talking about 2018 and how joyous and fabulous and optimistic and great things happening. So I just decided the beginning of this year to start the tag amplifeminism. It's like amplify-minism is how you spell it, like amplify with a Y. And I'm using that tag myself, and I'm inviting everyone to join me in using that tag on Twitter and Snapchat and Facebook and Instagram to amplify the voices of women we love and women who are doing awesome things. Because for myself, I don't want to feel the downerness of the Me Too movement anymore.
Yeah.
I'm really happy for the purge, and there's definitely more work, but I just want to keep being loud and excited and seeing this Time's Up 50-50 by 2020 happen.
Yeah.
So yay for loud, incredible voices like yours.
That's right.
Yeah, I think the only way that it's going to change is if we keep talking about it.
Yeah.
And if we, and people in power like Shonda Rhimes, who went to her agency and was like, you better be 50-50. I believe she's at ICM with the agents at your company, and there need to be half male, half female, and I think that's huge. I think it starts definitely at that agent level where they don't have clients that are writers and staff writers, directors to send to TV shows that aren't women / people of color. So I think this is really exciting where people who actually have power, like the Ava Longorias, the Reese Witherspoons, they're really using Tracy Ellis Ross. They're really using it to make a change. And I think we're not going to go back from like what's happening, which is really fun and exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Amplifeminism.
Yeah, we're going to be rocking that hashtag all over the place when
I love
we
it.
promote this episode.
I just want to keep seeing more awesome women on my feed.
Yay!
Absolutely. All the things that you've done, what gets you amped up? What really gets you, like when you receive a script, what gets you excited?
I was excited about the role on Awkward Black Girl because I read the script and I was like, oh my gosh. And this was 6.5 years ago. I read the script and I said, wow, this is a writer who is writing people of color without any stereotypes. And I'm just allowed to be a brown girl that's a best friend without an accent or wearing a hijab. And that's what excites me when I see a script and it's open ethnicity, but still is like for a brown girl, if that makes sense. Not just like there's a lot of, especially during pilot season, which is gonna be happening in like a month. They're gonna say open ethnicity for a lot of characters, and it's not necessarily gonna be like written for Indian, but I appreciate scripts that are actually Indian characters that aren't necessarily stereotypes, if that makes sense.
Give us a few examples. I think I have some ideas of it, but not being someone who's...
Yeah, I would say, like, what would be great, and I actually write a lot of my own stuff, so I'll just talk about some of my own characters that I've written. I wrote a feature with my friend Isabella, who's Asian American, and we wrote a female version of Harold and Kumar.
Oh, wow.
And so something like that, where it is based on our ethnicities, but we're acting not stereotypical in the actual scenes. But we do say, like in real life, I'm obsessed with my mom's samosas, so that's a character trait in that, where I get high and I just eat all of her samosas.
Sure. That sounds like something I would be more than happy to do.
Right.
You did not bring any samosas to share.
I'm so sorry, but my mom, who lives in Pittsburgh, my parents live in Pittsburgh, and I had my fill of her samosas out there. But I am really bad at I haven't tried to make them. I've watched her make them and tried to kind of learn. She doesn't have any written down recipes, but at some point, hopefully I can make them on my own.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always like Instagram them when I'm at home, and people are like, "Bring me some."
She doesn't send them to you?
No.
Maybe she could be convinced.
Right.
But anyway, so you're bringing in cultural elements of your upbringing, but
Yes.
not bringing in accents or stereotypes or being raised Indian in India,
Yes.
but being American
Exactly.
and having an Indian.
Being
Yeah.
Quickie Mart pigeonholed.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Which I watched The Problem with Apu, and it's so
I haven't seen it
wonderful.
yet, but
Yeah.
but I really want to check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I think the way to do that is to have people like me create our own, like write our own shows,
Yeah.
create our own content. I don't think someone who's outside of my culture would actually like be able to navigate that kind of script. So it's really so empowering to write my own stuff and be able to pitch it and have production companies open to working with that.
Absolutely. That is your own personal story. That is your life experience. That's something that you can very powerfully bring to the screen.
Yes.
In your own voice.
Yeah.
I love that so much. You were also on the Guild.
I was on the Guild. I feel like people don't talk about that enough.
Listen, I can talk about it endlessly.
It's an especially perfect thing to talk about in Meltdown.
Here we are.
Right.
In the Mecca. I love Felicia. I love the whole group. I've interviewed them at random periods, like individually. I interviewed the whole cast one year for Free Comic Book Day.
Oh, cool.
And they're just lovely, amazing, super talented people. And of course, Amy Okuda is on The Good Place right now, which I love.
Is she's on Atypical as well.
And Atypical, which I
Okay.
also haven't seen yet.
Okay,
But
cool.
yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I love Amy. Getting on the Guild was so great. It was around the same time that I believe it was the second season of Awkward Black Girl. And then I went in for the audition, and Felicia was in the room, and she was like, "You're from Awkward Black Girl." And I was like, "Yeah." So it was like really cool to have been working with Issa Rae, who's a kind of a queen of web series in her own right, and then meeting the other queen
Right.
Yeah.
of web series, and she was Felicia was so amazing, and the part was so fun, like nerdy tech
Oh, yes.
girl, and I just had a blast working on that show. And it was really interesting in terms of the comments on the Guild. It was like, "Hey, is that the girl from Awkward Black Girl?" And it was just like a fun kind of intermingling.
Got a little bit of celebrity going on.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was really fun. And it was funny because during the Guild, they would have behind the scenes video footage, and they'd come over and they'd be like, "Okay, so Sujata, what's your favorite game?" And I was like, "I don't play games. I don't know what to say." And then I got educated on gamer culture and video games and just tabletop games. And that's when I was introduced to the whole world. So that was a kind of cool introduction via Felicia and her crew.
That's pretty.
Yeah, what a
That's pretty
what
epic.
a perfect spirit guide for games for you
Right? Yeah.
to bring you
yeah,
into
I
it.
couldn't imagine
Yeah.
anyone better.
Right? That's
Honestly.
outstanding.
Her and Will Wheaton,
Yeah.
who will also be on this show. I tell you what.
2018,
Looking
Put
to the
it out there,
podcast gods.
2018.
That's right.
putting it all out there.
Speaking of games, we love to do them on this show. If you wouldn't mind playing one or two, there are some games that our lovely game producer has come up with. Libby, do you want to introduce and bring us into one?
Sure. My favorite lately, I'm calling it Past Lives.
Okay.
And it's as much a talking point as it is a game. I'm just really curious to know, and I don't think I've heard yours yet, Devlin. If you could have chosen your last 3 past lives, no holds barred, you could be anybody you want, what 3 former real people would you have been? And what would you have done differently? I don't want you to feel like because...
Like as them.
Yes. Well, I don't want you to feel like because someone was murdered in a horrific way that you wouldn't want to be them, because you could be like, oh, I would not get burned at the stake, or I would
Right.
not get murdered by Huns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Murdered by Huns.
Yeah.
Oh, I like this. I like this game. Are we gonna do like me one?
Sure. We can go around
Okay.
the table.
I'd like to go around the table.
Sure. Okay.
Okay, so this is probably not a specific person, but I've always thought that I was like an Indian Maharani princess
Yeah?
in a past life. And my mom and my grandma are like, yeah, we do feel like you were some, because we believe in reincarnation as well. So this is something that we've talked
so
about.
you've already decided.
I was definitely an Indian Maharani princess, but a rebellious one.
Yes.
You know, so I was supposed to marry another prince from another region, and I was like, hell no, I'm not going to do that. And then I did my own thing.
Amplifeminism.
Feminism, and I ruled on my own, and it was all good, and I killed it. And
So is Maharani a region?
Maharani is like the name of a princess.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would be like Maharani Victoria or something.
Yes. So you're a rebellious,
I was a
sassy, fabulous
Yes.
princess.
Yeah. And then I probably had an affair with like the servant.
Ooh,
Yeah.
getting down.
Yeah. So I really feel like that's a true thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And what, besides the normal princessy things, the wealth and the power and the abilities you have, what appealed to you about that as a past life?
I think part of it is that I come from a line of very feminist Indian women. So I believe that my princess probably helped to amplify, like usually when you're a daughter born into a family in India, you're kind of a second-rate citizen. So I think she maybe was like, no, they're equal, and this is what we're going to do to celebrate the daughters as opposed to the sons. And I think she helped inequality.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'll tell you the one that really delights me. I wish I was Salvador Dali.
Ooh, okay.
Because I could have a fabulous twisty mustache.
Yes.
But moreover, being able to live this like extremely flamboyant, eccentric life and just have everyone be like, look at you, you're so fun. I don't feel like there were a lot of people who were like, look at this idiot with his pet ocelot walking down the streets of Barcelona. People were like, oh, it's Dali. Dali's fun. We love this guy. This guy can get away with anything. And I don't know that I would have done anything differently. I mean, unless maybe there was like a female version of Dali, but in that particular time and place, I think I would have preferred just to have been Dali.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I actually don't know too much about his personal life, so he wasn't ostracized at all.
Not as far as I'm aware. I mean, I'm sure if I delved further into it, but as far as I know, he was pretty well respected in his lifetime as an artist, which a lot of artists aren't.
Exactly, that's what I was thinking.
One of my favorite things that a colleague of mine, Trip Payne, pointed me towards that I just am mad about is Salvador Dali was on What's My Line on the game show, and you can watch it on YouTube, and I highly recommend it.
Okay.
And he, no matter what anybody asks him, he's just like, yes. And they're all yes or no questions. They're like, Mr. Mystery Guest, would you say you were an athlete? Yes. And the host just keeps having these sidebars where he's like, pss, 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 pss. Well, we could say that our guest is sporting. We will not, for purposes of this game show, say that he is officially an athlete. Anyway, it's
right.
He's just like, yes, I do everything. Everything is the thing I do with my pet ocelot and my twisty mustache.
I love
That's
it.
amazing.
Yeah.
I
would love to have a twisty mustache. I have a mustache, but it's not.
You could do it.
Just keep growing it out. You think it would turn? It would turn
yeah,
twisty.
Well, you gotta wax it.
I think what happened I think you would have to cut the inner ones, right? And
Yeah,
then
maybe.
the outer ones grow.
I don't
know about
it already
anything
takes
about
forever
facial.
to grow in as it is, so it would probably take me another 2 years
mean,
to get like
I
a
feel
very
like-
hipster mustache. I
I
don't
feel
know.
like in this age of hipster stashes,
You think so?
could
I should go for it?
Well, I think you could find a mentor who would a mustache
Are you gonna-
mentor. That's a
You're gonna
tongue
be my
twister.
mustache mentor?
No, I mean I could try, but I feel like there would be someone more well suited, like someone who grows facial hair easily and has the appropriate wax that they've like studied. There's
I bet there's YouTube tutorials.
Yeah.
I bet
No
there's
doubt.
YouTube influencers who specialize in mustache
No
growth
doubt.
and styles.
You're probably right.
there's competitions
Wax
for it.
mask.
There's
yeah.
definitely competitions.
Yeah.
Air guitar. If there's air guitar
yeah.
competitions, there's got to be
Yeah, my
mustache waxing competitions.
My friend Justin Howard was an air guitar
No
champion.
kidding?
Yeah, a couple of years back. Nordic Thunder.
That's,
Really?
That's
Yeah.
his name?
Nordic Thunder's his air guitar
Handle.
Handle. Yeah. Yeah, he went to Helsinki and won the World Air Guitar Championships.
Holy crap. We got to have him on the
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
Until I met him in the Chicago improv scene, I didn't even know that was a thing. But of course it is. There's a competition for
Sure.
literally everything.
That's very cool.
Okay, I actually went into all of that because I was stalling, trying to
Yes,
think of
yes,
someone,
yes,
and
I figured.
as you would imagine, and I think I'm going to go with Alexander Graham Bell because he was one of those aforementioned, as you mentioned, artists that didn't get the necessary accolades at the time. He was literally creating every sort of audio device that we now use today, but not getting any of the credit. So I don't know. I think he was a pretty cool dude. I've always, I have a long list of things that would be super cool that I've always thought of. Notes on my phone go on forever and ever. I'm always thinking of inventions, but I never put it to task. So
Yeah.
I think that would really be. I would like to dip into his life for a little while and just
self-promote harder.
Yes, exactly.
I feel like if he has ancestors still alive, they should get like a cut of phones.
Wouldn't you think? Yeah.
Yeah. Is there a way to get a cut of phones? I don't know.
Like they would just call like AT&T or like T-Mobile and be
I
like,
guess.
hello T-Mobile. This is Alexander Graham Bell, the 7th.
Right.
I would like
Or Alexa Graham Bell.
Alexa Graham Bell. I would like 15% of your profits, please.
Yeah.
Mail me a check.
Yeah. Who else you got? Who's your number 2?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. You made me think of Frida Kahlo.
I love that.
Okay.
I would.
That's
yeah.
a great choice.
Yeah, I feel like she would. I feel like all of mine are going to be really empowered women.
That's incredible.
That's perfect. I love that.
wonderful.
So I think I would do nothing different if I
Okay.
was Frida Kahlo, and I would just live her life exactly how she lived her life, because it sounds like a blast and a party and just fabulous and full of love and romance and art. And
Yeah. I love it. I love her house. Have you been to her house?
I haven't been to her house, but I watched the movie.
Yes. Also good.
Also great.
Also great article recently by Selma Hayek about the trouble of making that movie.
Oh, yeah.
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 I would be Cleopatra.
Excellent.
Also, kick-ass, empowered woman.
Love it.
Created the calendar as we know it now, the 365-day a year, the consistent calendar. Also just slept with everyone she felt like sleeping with, sometimes for, political gain and whatnot. Just had a brilliant creative agricultural life. Not agricultural, but agriculture and art and all of these things that she helped.
So you'd be a princess too.
Kind of, but actually I love princesses, but I for myself have never thought of myself as a princess. But to your point about empowered princesses and rebellious princesses, I love that. But I think of Cleopatra, although I guess she technically is a princess, as like a religious, spiritual, political, literary leader. But yeah, sure, princesses.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm down with princesses as long as they're kicking ass and not getting rescued.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going for it. I would be Einstein.
Yeah.
I mean, why not?
one.
Awesome hair and coming up with the scientific foundation of our entire existence. So that's.
Would you do anything differently?
I mean, I think I would have also worked out the scientific algorithm of immortality so that I could still be around
good
at this
call.
point.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You know?
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great. And preserve that hair.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
right.
Okay. I have my third one.
Yes.
Charlie Chaplin.
Yes.
Love it.
I think I just would love to be in that time period, and the amount of creative work that he did and how ingenious he was in terms of performing without sound, and in an industry that was like, well, who is this guy? What is he doing? I felt like he just came in and took the place by storm.
Yeah.
And I like his fire.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I could hang out with you. I think I would be Clara Bow, who was the silent film star. She's the reason the word "it girl" exists. She was in a movie, and she she literally won a Fame and Fortune contest when she was 16, anyway, grew up I'm so madly in love with her, and I feel like I know her. I'm working on a story about her, and yeah, if you watch her work, she's so charismatic. But yeah, Charlie Chaplin and Clara Bow, silent film ass kickers.
Yes.
Bringing in all the crowds until the Hollywood Production Code laid down the law on all the sexiness, mostly for Clara. I don't know. I don't know if Charlie Chaplin got busted for sexiness, but yeah, the Catholic Coalition put a lid on it. But amazing silent film stars.
Yeah.
Devlin.
Okay, minus all the neuroses and, going crazy. I think I'm going to go with Howard Hughes because, I like being affluent and building lots of amazing building airplanes and working in aeronautics. And I think despite the latter part of his life, I think was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
He did some pretty amazing things.
So maybe you'd get a handle on the neuroses and
Maybe
yes, exactly.
get a therapist.
Yeah. Maybe a few.
Maybe.
Have a team.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. No peeing in bottles for me.
That's something I would do differently in a similar situation.
Yeah, probably. There's another one we like to play called Doctor's Orders.
Okay.
Essentially, a mad scientist gives you the opportunity to add something to your body, whatever it's going to be. It could be an extra body part or an ability or something that's just matrixed in. If you could do that, what would you do and why?
It would definitely be invisibility.
Oh.
Oh.
For sure. Like, hands down. I can't really think of anything else that I would want. I just want to be able to go places. I'm kind of a loner, and I like to observe a lot. So I like to go into places and just kind of hang out and be a wallflower and see what people are doing and talking about and not really interject. So I think an invisibility cloak would be perfect for that.
Okay, now wait a minute. Now you changed over. There's a big difference there. So would you rather have the actual ability of invisibility or the invisibility cloak?
Oh.
Because remember, now we're going into Harry Potter.
Yeah, like you might be able to have some sort of dermatological surgery that would give you an opportunity to be invisible.
It would be
a full body Botox kind of situation.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. As opposed to like an item, for sure.
I think that's better because the problem with the invisibility cloak, as amazing as it is, and of course, when paired with the Elder Wand and the stone, it makes you the controller of death. But the problem with the invisibility cloak is, of course, it's a physical item.
Right.
So you always have to make sure it's like
things, moths
it's come unthreaded. Yeah, you don't want that.
Yeah, and I am talking to a mad scientist
that's true.
Who's changing my body, so it would be the invisibility.
And I like to tinker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of deeply serious missions or incredibly frivolous missions, besides just generally being a wallflower, what would you put on your agenda for invisibility opportunities?
Oh, like going to really expensive concerts.
Nice. Like who?
I think that because I love music and I would love to enjoy music a lot more than, just in my room. And usually the thing that sets me off is it's $300 to go to something at the Staples Center or wherever. And I was just like, I don't even have to be in the front row. I would just like put that invisibility Botox
you could just
on.
Stand behind the drummer and
yes, I would go backstage
and clap off time and screw him or her up.
Oh no.
So that for sure, and then something that's not frivolous would be I want to be a fly on the wall in this White House right now.
Right.
And just to witness what is going on, and I would report it back.
And then how much would you bang your head against the wall?
I mean, I would be banging my head. I would definitely do a tell-all.
Right.
But that is something that I want to be witness to because I think crazy shit's going down.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
It's baffling.
It's baffling.
And who would you see at these concerts? Jumping back to the concerts, which are less baffling.
I've never been to a Beyonce concert.
I hear you, girl.
Yeah.
So I would love to go to Beyonce.
And if you're invisible, you could dance on stage with the backup.
Yeah, I sort of know the single ladies dance.
Or you could just audition and go as yourself.
Yeah, that would be super fun. So Beyonce concert for sure. Any kind of like 90s hip hop nostalgia concert.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where they come like Snoop and, you know, Dre and Eminem and they all come out. That would be so fun. I would just get my life at that concert.
Love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you spit?
Do I
Do you rap?
I do not rap. I sing a little bit. But actually on Opera Black Girl, I did beatboxing while Issa rapped, Issa's character. But part of the humor of the situation was I don't really know how to beatbox at all. So I would just make noises with my mouth into my hands.
I mean, that's kind of beatboxing. You get better at it over time. But, but that's how you start, right?
Well, I've watched like real beatboxing, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing, and I can't believe they allowed me to do that.
Well, that's a whole other level. But you know, they just started by just being like
Oh, yeah. Of
yeah.
course.
Look, I
Right.
started already.
You did it.
Yeah.
You did it.
Now I need a mentor, a beatboxing mentor.
Yeah, okay.
2018
Sorry, I can't help you out
goals.
there.
Yeah.
2018.
I can do a little scat.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah, we should get that going.
Yeah.
Ooh, that could be a whole thing. Scat, skid bit, scat. I don't know.
Do they actually ever say scat when they scat?
Not traditionally.
I don't think so.
That was awesome.
The idea of it is to sound like an instrument.
Right.
So I don't know. There are too many instruments that
Automatopoeia your voice,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
Interesting. What are your vices?
My vices.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh my gosh.
I'll help you out. Mine is ice cream.
Oh,
Yeah,
is that a vice?
They don't have to be within the 7 deadly sins. They could.
That's true. That's right.
I would go with food for sure.
Food in general.
Samosas.
Samosas.
Okay.
I don't have a sweet tooth. I have a savory tooth. So I love pizza. My favorite foods are actually pizza and popcorn and potato chips. Anything fried, deep fried.
Ditto.
So I guess those are my vices, but I don't consider them a vice.
So salty munchies.
Salty.
Snacks.
Yeah, right.
Salty munchy snacks. Maybe also sleeping too much. Is that a vice? I like to get 9 hours of sleep a night.
Well, I do too.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's fair. 'Cause
9
you're
to 10.
9 to 10.
Busy.
I didn't want to say 10, but
10's fine.
9 to 10.
You're doing stuff all day. You're busy.
I'm
You're
busy.
wearing yourself out.
I'm a busy girl.
That's right.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't really consider either of those things vices. They're just things that I love. I love to sleep and I love to eat. And something that's kind of cool is my name, Sujata. The meaning is Sujata was one of the first disciples of Buddha. And when he came out of his 40-day meditation, she was there with a bowl of rice and said, "You don't have to starve to be enlightened," and gave him food.
I love that.
And I was like, oh my gosh, that's why I love food so much. I was pushing food on Buddha.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As a princess. As a rebellious princess.
That's right.
Rebellious princess.
I just found out in the aforementioned Alec Baldwin podcast that my severe, I will call it a vice, my love of ice cream, because I used to eat like a bowl of ice cream every night before I went to bed, like literally every single night. Try not to do that anymore. That's but I found out that I guess that comes from Marlon Brando, because years and years ago, my mom was big with the ancestry and found out that I'm actually a blood relative of Marlon Brando.
That's super cool.
Also means I probably have a pretty big predilection to alcoholism. So glad I never picked that up.
Right. Yeah. Thank goodness.
But yeah, I guess he would just like eat ice cream constantly, like all the time.
I have a question. So
Sure.
so I love ice cream. I have like my favorite spots in Studio City.
Of course, as you do.
And local ice is one of them. Do you tend to go, like, are you like grocery store ice cream, which I also love, or
I much prefer to go to, say, Salt and Straw.
yes, yeah,
Because it's so good.
honey
thinking about it right now.
lavender is my flavor.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Yeah.
It's an amazing place. Libby, have you been to Salt and Straw?
have, and I like Jenny's in Los
Sure.
Feliz.
But generally,
I only eat fancy ice cream. not only, but my way of keeping myself in check from not eating too much of any one thing is to only get the best version of that thing. So I have like a little bit of something that's incredibly decadent. So I don't usually buy grocery store ice cream. I won't be like, no, I won't eat your grocery store ice cream in your home or be a butt about it. But but I don't keep it in my house, so I don't just like gorge it all. I'm just like, I really want some ice cream. I'm gonna go get some pistachio dark cherry ice cream with
a touch of
rum
rose
topping or something. Yes. Yeah.
that sounds amazing. I would
then
eat that right now.
I think I'm gonna have to go.
maybe we maybe we need a field trip.
Anyway,
Field
Wait,
trip.
there's Postmates, right? We can
yeah,
have it
that's
delivered
true.
right to the studio.
That'd be
absolutely,
fantastic.
totally. Aristotle, how are we doing? Okay, great. Oh, we're good. Just gotta check.
I thought you were gonna send him on an ice cream run.
I know.
Would you mind?
Amazing.
It's just we're on Sunset. I'm sure there's ice cream close by. So
Yeah.
sure.
What do you have coming up? What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to. I actually just finished a first draft of a feature over the holidays that I'm looking.
Congratulations.
Thank you, girl. It's
right.
like a huge accomplishment.
Did you print it so that you can like flip it and touch it and like hold the heavy?
Tactile contact is
Yeah.
one of the best parts. Yeah.
I did not. I think I'm like out of paper or something.
Oh no.
That was part of that. But I'm excited to keep revising that because I want to direct it and produce it and star in it. And I have like my friend attached to it, and I'm excited about just like creating my own shows. I'm going out with 3 TV shows and pitching to networks and
Awesome.
just creating my own stuff and get out the perspective of a brown girl, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk themes for the film, or is it still super locked down secret?
It's very like Sundance indie, something that I would be able to shoot on my own. I think that's pretty. It's cool coming from a YouTube/web series world because you're very focused on budget when you're writing.
Yeah.
So the theme it's more like a Indian family in a suburb and very dramedy with comic moments and their relationships with each other.
Can't wait to see it.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm just excited about that. I'm excited to get out there and, like put my perspective on things out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Is there more Insecure? Is that
Oh, yeah. They're in the writer's room right now. So what happens?
good.
What happens at HBO is they write all of the episodes first, and then you shoot them all together. So they'll probably be in the writer's room until March/April, and then we will come back to shoot in May or June.
Now, there's a process for Veep that HBO offers them the opportunity to do that I love, and I'm wondering if this is similar for Insecure. So there's so many really tight improvisers on Veep, but of course, as you know, once you get on set, spending too much time improvising is really impossible. You need a tight script so that you can shoot it because the budgets are huge and you want to knock it out. But Veep, during the writing process, they take time between each script draft to improvise on what's already written. Is that a
The
part of
writers do?
Yeah, the writers and the actors together have it. That's part of what was built into the contract for their show is for the writers and actors, because everyone's such a solid improviser, to hang out and improvise on the script just in the writer's room, and then they do the rewrites, and then when they shoot it, they shoot it as written so that they don't spend a bunch of time. Does Insecure do a similar process?
I think with Insecure, we mostly stick to the script. We do have opportunities in some scenes to improvise if there's time, and that's been really fun, especially for buttons of scenes.
Right.
I will say that Natasha Rothwell, who's on the show, who I'm not sure if you've heard of her, but she was actually a UCB teacher in New York City, and then she moved out here, and she's in the writer's room at Insecure. She improvises every single one of her lines, and it's like blows it out of the park every time. So I definitely feel like she is one of the actors on the show that improvises a lot.
Yeah. Do you?
I don't get like too much of an opportunity because we have the big kind of office scenes.
Right.
But I did have a scene in season 2 where, I don't know, we were doing a retreat in the office, and we actually like didn't get to go anywhere for the retreat. We had to stay in Inglewood, and we were picking like
very glamorous retreat.
Yeah, very glamorous. And we were picking things out of a fishbowl that we went, because I work at a nonprofit for kids of color.
Yep.
And so we were picking out things that we wanted to work on in the next year for our kids of color. So every time I picked something out of the fishbowl, I made up a new thing and made everybody laugh.
Fun.
But it didn't make it onto the show, but it made it to the gag reel, you guys. So
Great.
That's important.
So everybody watch the gag reel.
That's right.
Yeah.
yeah.
Great.
I watch all of the gag reels.
I don't think we've released any of the gag reels, but I'm sure at some
You
point.
got to get on that.
Yeah, they always showed it at the rap parties, you know?
Right.
So I haven't seen any of the gag reels.
Share it with the world.
Share it. I'm sure it'll be on like the DVD extras or something.
No doubt. The
Yeah.
ones from Star Trek Next Generation are the best.
Oh, I haven't
Where
seen
they're
those.
goofing around
haven't seen
on the
those
bridge. Oh, they're
either.
wonderful. There are a few of
like-
them on YouTube. Check it
Okay.
out. Trust me.
I really enjoy gag reels from dramas.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
I think those are really funny because you don't expect those actors to, I don't know. Obviously, we're actors and we know that actors can do everything, but
Well, we like to think so.
but it's just like so nice to see like a drama actor who's on NCIS or something.
Sure.
Just break down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the gag reels from animation, which aren't really gag reels because, of course,
Yeah.
they had to be written and animated. But I love animation is my favorite anyway. But,
I just recently got into animation.
Oh, yeah. What's
Are you
your
doing
latest
voiceovers?
favorite?
No, just watching. I
okay.
had never watched animation before like 3 months ago.
What?
And
Welcome to it.
I know,
welcome
it's such an
to animation.
exciting world. I'm obsessed with Bob's Burgers.
Yeah, good choice.
Rick and
Indeed.
Morty.
Yes, also good choice.
Absolutely.
Big Mouth.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's wonderful.
So yeah, I'm getting more into it, and I love it, and I love how absurd the worlds are. And that's
Yeah.
my favorite thing.
Libby
my
and I,
favorite thing.
Libby and I will both suggest Archer to you.
Yes.
Oh,
Archer.
okay, yeah, I've heard of it.
It's worlds of
That's
wonderful.
on Fox, right? Or
It's
it's on
on
something else.
FX.
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 Yes.
FX. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll check that out.
Yeah, it's demented.
Yeah. But super tight. The writing
Yes.
is so tight.
Cool.
And actually, my favorite thing about Archer that I'll warn you / impress upon you is that there are so many jokes back to back. There are jokes that are pretty deep cuts, but that I get, and there are jokes that I don't understand, but I know it's a joke. So I have to Google stuff sometimes to understand it. But I love that because I'm just such a curious dork that I'm
Ooh, so it's
that I'm
educational.
it's a joke, but I don't know why.
Yeah.
The first one was about Johnny Bench, who turns out was a catcher for the Reds. Is that
the
right?
Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah, but
That's right.
I was like, he's like, oh, Johnny Bench. I don't remember exactly what the joke is. I'm going to mess it up. But I was like, who the hell is Johnny Bench? And I had to look it up, and I was like,
Oh, that's fun.
no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm such a dork. It's my
Random
favorite-
trivia. Johnny
favorite
Bench
thing.
used to live in the apartment downstairs from me when I was a very little boy.
Really?
Ooh.
Wow.
Supposedly he carried me around on his shoulders a few times.
He could have carried you around in one hand.
Yeah,
because that
he
was
probably
his
did.
claim to fame was the massive, massive size of his hand. He'd just palm your head and carry you around.
Wow. Do you have pictures of that? That could be a good TBT.
I have no idea. My dad probably does somewhere in
perfect TBT.
garage or something. Yeah.
Did you live upstairs from anybody? Anybody unusual?
Definitely did not, but that would be exciting if I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who would you want to live upstairs from?
Who would I want to live upstairs from?
Oh, I got.
I
this
would say a writer, like Emily Dickinson.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
First of all, I like to live in apartment buildings that are quiet.
Yeah.
So I think I would like go downstairs and be like, "Yo, Emily, like, what dark thing are you writing about today?" You know.
And she'd just be like, shh.
She'd be like, shh. And then I would just like sit there and like maybe make her tea or something and just like watch her write. That would be fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
That is the perfect way to live in a quiet apartment is to just live above writers.
Yes.
Or above, who else is super quiet?
Who else would be quiet?
Maybe it'd be nice to live above like a classical or a Baroque composer because it wouldn't necessarily be quiet, but it would be soothing.
Ooh, I would love that. I love the violin. Hearing the violin is one of my favorite instruments.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be fantastic.
French horn's my favorite, but I don't think it works as a solo instrument. I mean, it could, but I don't think I could fall asleep to French horn.
Yeah.
Solo French horn.
I don't think you want to live upstairs from what are they called? French hornist?
French hornist? Yeah.
That sounds wrong though.
It does sound.
A hornist?
I would normally say, well, pianist sounds a little wrong too, but that's right.
Maybe it's hornist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have a lot of French horn players together, then it's a horns' nest.
Yes.
I can't say that, but you get the gist.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
A French horns' nest.
French.
Oh la la.
Yes. Ooh la la. I think I would live. Above the Addams family. Because there would always be some sort of crazy hijinks going on that I would love to get involved with.
They're creepy and they're kooky.
That's right.
They're
exactly.
all together ooky.
That would be fantastic.
The movie version, I think. I would live above the movie above Angelica Houston and Raul Julia.
I'd live above John Aston for sure, above the television, and then I'd go downstairs and it would be black and white downstairs.
Oh yeah, that's
okay.
true. Ooh, okay,
That would be awesome. I just thought of another one.
Yes.
Martha Stewart.
Oh yeah.
And then I would just go downstairs and eat all of her food.
That is a excellent plan.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would ask her how to decorate my apartment.
So what we need to do is just put together an apartment building full of perfect neighbors.
I love that.
Chefs and decorators and writers
Absolutely.
spooky
and hornists.
families.
Hornses.
Hornses.
Horton here's a hornses. Sujata, where can people find you?
Oh, I'm on all the social medias. So Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at Sujata Day, Tumblr. I'm on Snapchat, but I don't use it very much. I
don't either.
I prefer Instagram stories over
Snapchat's on the lower rung of the ladder.
Snapchat's
honestly.
where I draw the line. Like I can only devote so much time per day to a thing.
You know what though? The kids love it.
Yeah.
Over the holidays I was visiting my cousins in Detroit, and one's 13, one's 16, and they do not do Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. They only do Snapchat.
Oh.
And so I will say right here, right now, Snapchat is the wave of the future because all the kids are doing it.
Does Snapchat have a Frida Kahlo filter? Can you Frida Kahlo yourself on Snapchat?
I believe there was.
Really?
I think there was at some
I got to get on
point.
Snapchat.
Yeah, I mean, they have
bringing
a ton
you right
of
in now.
filters. Yeah, so I'm telling you guys, I mean,
Every time I see one of my relatives has been using Snapchat, they're always a dog. They've always like puppified themselves.
Yeah.
I'm like, there must be other options.
I think they have a really fun option. I think I liked. There's options where your face gets squished, and then your voice changes, and so I'll say really mundane sentences like, "I have to pick up the groceries," in this like weird voice that makes me sound like a man. I really like to play men in my improv characters and on Girls Guts Glory, so I think that's an interesting part.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I think because I probably wouldn't get a chance to do that in actual acting or, shows or movies. So I don't know. I really like that. I'd always try to do like low voice. And
if you did get to play, if you could play any acting role ever, whether it's a man or a woman or a old white guy or a Muppet, like regardless of typecasting, what role would you play?
Now I'm going to think of some of my favorite movies and try to inject myself into that.
You can share.
Well, you know what? I would play a Bollywood hero.
Yeah?
Yeah, because not only are they badass and they fight and do all the fight and stunt choreography, they are also lip syncing and dancing at the same time. So I would be a Bollywood hero, like the male version.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that would be super fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Sort of doubles your badassery if you can also dance.
Yes.
Like West Side Story. like the gangs of West Side Story.
Yes.
A cool boy. I love it. Libby, where can people find you? I know where to find you, but for our listeners.
At Sneaky Varmint, all over the internet.
I love that so much.
Yeah. Sneaky Varmint, SneakyVarmint.
What's a varmint?
A varmint is like any of the versions of furry weaselly critters.
I was thinking of rat. Is it like rat/rodent?
Sure. I mean, varmints usually are rodents, but I'm a huge Muppet fan. When I was 3, I wanted to work for Kermit the Frog. I have worked for Kermit the Frog, which is amazing, and I would love to work with him more. 2018!
Yeah.
Kermit the Frog! Call me for gigs. But I always think of like the Muppety critters that they don't really have a specific animal or a specific monster, or they're just sort of like they have drawers, like drawers of critters and drawers of monsters. And so I think of the varmints, and this is a little bit visual, but I'll also do the sound effects as being like, and just sort of like sneaking around and giggling mischievously.
I'm having PTSD right now because
I'm so sorry.
The past 2 months we have had a rat infestation in my apartment, and when you made those noises,
oh no, I'm so sorry.
You rat fink.
It's all taken care of now. I got brand new windows because they were. I watched them flow in through the windows.
Coming in through the windows? Did they have diamond cutters or something?
No, they pushed the screen open and came in through the windows that were like stuck open, if you know what I mean, just like half an inch.
Yeah.
And they just squeezed their bodies into.
Yeah, they can get in tiny spaces. You should have borrowed a lion for a couple of weeks.
I know. Well, I had a friend's cat come over to kind of just like hang out.
Yeah.
But of course, I couldn't just have the cat there.
The cat was like, "Today's my day.
Today's it.
I knew this day would come."
So yeah, that's my rat story.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I had a rat that kept getting in my cupboard. I have 2 cats, and this rat kept getting in the cupboard under the sink. But if I'd open it, and the cats would be sitting like next to it. They're like, "I've been training for this for months." But you'd open the cupboard, and the rat was so fast to get out of there.
Yeah.
And my roommate at the time, I was at work, and my roommate at the time managed to, because we had a trap, but we didn't actually know it was a rat at the time. We just knew it was a rodent. So it was like a trap that was too small. So it snapped it, but it just like concussed it. And it didn't get really hurt. Like it wasn't bleeding or anything.
Oh, no. I'm not gasping because of hurting a rat. I'm gasping because I wish it would have died. On the trap.
Yeah, well, I a little bit wish that, but like I'm really bad at killing things. Like I don't. My parents cut down a Christmas tree. I can't do it. I don't kill spiders. I give them a lot of harsh words and I evict them from my house, but I can't kill things. So anyway, so this rat was just like dazed, and my roommate was like trying to hit it with the broom, and the cats were trying to chase it.
Oh no!
So he
nightmare.
No, it has a really happy weird ending. Don't worry. So he corralled it into a big Tupperware, like the cat food bin Tupperware.
The rat?
Yeah. And he like put it in the Tupperware, and he called me. He's like, "Should I kill it?" I'm like, "No, don't kill it." I'm like, put it on the porch, and I'll do something with it when I get home. So I lived between this wooded area, which was my plan was to drop it off in the forest and be like, go live in the forest, not in my house. But the farther north you go from my house, it gets kind of sketchy, and it was like 1 a.m. So instead of going 50 blocks north to the forest, I went 50 blocks south to the zoo. And I got to the parking lot at the zoo, and I opened the Tupperware, and I'm like, bye, rat, go live at the zoo. And the rat, like, fell out of the Tupperware, and he just looks at me, and he's like,
Aww.
And it ran back in the Tupperware. And I was like, nah, dude, you can't live at my house anymore.
Right.
No.
I was like,
sorry,
you gotta live at the zoo. And so I like dumped him out, and I picked up the Tupperware, and I was like, look, man, you weren't paying rent. You didn't do any chores.
Yep.
You were trying to eat my snacks. And he just like scurried away a few feet and then looked back at me and was like, please. And I was like, no. And I pointed to the fence at the zoo, and like he just kept like scurrying a few feet and turning around and being like, come on. And anyway, he finally went under the fence, and I was like, bye, good luck.
I have a similar story.
Yeah?
So the first rat that was in my kitchen, I walked in and I screamed, and it was a huge, like, kind of roly-poly fatty rat. I called the manager over, and she was like, oh, we can't do anything. We don't, we'll call pest control. And like,
Rat's not on the lease.
Rat's not on the lease. And then I heard my neighbor from across the hall come home, because I was just like standing there watching the rat in the kitchen. And
was he cooking? What was he doing?
He was just running from the garbage can to behind the stove, just running back and forth.
Okay.
And my neighbor Destiny, she was coming home, and she's a humanitarian like you.
Yeah.
And I was like, Destiny, there's a rat in my kitchen. Do you think you can like help me? So she came inside for the next 3 hours. Mm-hmm. She was like, we're not going to kill it. We're going to like leave a trail of cereal to the front door. And 3 hours later, it followed the trail of cereal out the front door.
What kind of cereal was it?
It was like a Frosted Mini Wheats situation, like a generic brand.
So generic Mini Wheats.
Yeah.
Generic Frosted Mini Wheats in order to remove rats from your home.
Yeah.
That's the rule.
Yeah, I think so. They love cereal. That's what I learned. Cereal and peanut butter.
Great. So he just left and didn't come back, he or she.
Yeah, he or she left and didn't come back. And then the next week, 2 rats came in, and I got these like powerful electronic traps.
Yeah.
Which I highly recommend if you have rat problems. And then the next day, they were both dead in the traps. And when the pest control came, he was like, oh, these were sisters. And I was like, okay, I didn't need to know that.
Oh, jeez.
I didn't need to know that specific information.
Well, now the sister rats are in heaven together, eating all the cereal.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, I don't have any rat stories. I'm sorry.
Consider yourself lucky.
I did have an ant infestation. This was
when you said that, even though we were just talking about vermin, I immediately thought like aunties.
Ants and
all of your ants came to stay, and they wouldn't leave.
They wouldn't leave. I mean, they just wouldn't get the hell out. They were in my guest room. They were in the kitchen. They were cooking all of my food, and
that sounds fun.
They kept pinching my cheek.
They kept asking you if you were really going to wear that.
Exactly. It was a total nightmare.
And how do you get rid of ants?
I got these.
Or the zoo.
Exactly. You get a giant Tupperware. No, you get in there, Aunt Ruth. You get in there. I got some lemon drops, like pure like lemon juice, more or less. And This was actually, you know about this.
Were these the the teeny tiny ants
Yes,
too?
this was at the place in
On Buena Vista?
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
And so I couldn't figure out where they were coming from because I thought I had localized them to the sink. They were coming up the drain, but then they were coming out of all sorts of different cracks and crevices. And it was literally like, one of the segments out of the Twilight Zone movie. Like they were everywhere.
Like a Hitchcock.
So I got this this lemon juice and this spray from one of the organic markets or whatever, because I attempted to be nice at first, but then there were too many coming in very much too quickly. So I put the lemon juice in all of the corners of the place, and then I vacuumed up the majority of them. And, took the vacuum hose and was like vacuum them up the
wall.
up the wall and stuff. That did it.
They were coming in through...
Oh, that was it. So you
were-
didn't have to use any like poisonous stuff.
No. I
Cool.
used all natural stuff because the thing is, besides it, hurting the creatures, it would hurt me because like Clorox and anything like that, it just like I have severe asthma, so it just like
But because
bad news.
I know this place, because you stayed with me for a couple of months, it turns out they were coming in through the outlet, the electrical outlet. And so I cocked it up, but I couldn't stop them from coming in while I was caulking the hole. So there's still, like, to that day in the electrical outlet, a bunch of ants that are like Han Solo'd in caulk that are just like,
What?
because they wouldn't stop coming, but I had to seal it up.
yeah. Holy
That's
crap.
incredible.
Mystery solved.
Yeah. But yes,
I
it
have
took-
great ant closure today. This is fantastic. Wow. Well, Libby, thank you so much for joining me. Sujata, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
I got a lot of things to mention and people to thank. As my listeners know, you can follow me at all the places, Devlin Wilder, and this show across all social at Friend or Faux Pod. That's FAUX. We are now on Spotify. Thank you so much to Aristotle for engineering this show.
My new show producer, Emily Sex, Jabberjaw Media.
Thank you to our new friends at Ginger Cat who are editing this episode. Also, I want to mention that I will be appearing as a comedian and speaker at the Podfest Multimedia Expo next month, February 8th through 10th in Orlando, Florida. If you are in the area, you can get tickets at podfest.us. I will also be covering the inaugural Unrig the System Summit, which is also occurring next month, the week before, February 2nd through 4th in
New Orleans.
Go to unrigsummit.com. I'm going to be talking a lot more about that in the episode with Josh Silver, which may come out before or after this episode. I'm not exactly sure yet. And the big, huge, ginormous announcement that I want to make on this episode is that there is another show coming from Wilder Entertainment. It is a Weird Al tribute show that I am calling Accordion to Al. You can follow us now across all the places at the same handle. And it's going to be exactly what it sounds like, talking to all the people that have worked with the man, the myth, the legend. It's going to be one of the most incredible things that I have ever done. And I think that brings an end to this show. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining us. See you on the next one.
Thank you.
Bye.
Guys, this has been Friend or Foe. No one knows.
Visit jabberjawmedia.com for more shows like this one.